Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Q&A here at the Dice Tower. This is just a time where I take time to answer your questions. We're back to the first week of February. I know today is January, but tomorrow February begins. A very, very busy month for the Dice Tower as opposed to all our non-busy months. We got Dice Tower Cruises in 2 weeks. We got Dice Tower West in 4 weeks. So plenty of things to look forward to and prepare for. Just earlier, Wendy was working. I was talking to Wendy. She's working on the library currently as we speak. I'm reviewing some games here. We're getting ready to do different things. So, I will answer some of your questions. I won't answer all of them. I will answer some of them. Asking the same question over and over again, it probably won't change anything. So whether I answer it or not. So let's get started and see what we have here. Blobbity, 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 blobbity. Awkward guest fell off my top. Well, that's not a good place to put it. Let's put the question there. Awkward guest fell off my top 100. Maybe. I'm gonna see where awkward guest landed up. Awkward guests. No, awkward guests didn't fall off my top 100. It was 98. So it did not fall off my top 100. So, all right. I pulled up my listing here. Let's see here. Have you heard any news about Jamie from the Secret Ball you were able to share? I know he's home from the hospital, still not doing tremendously well, so just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. What service did you use to make your custom version of Faces? ArtsCal. Now, granted, remember, this is like 15 years ago I did this, so I don't know what I would use today. Let's see. Oh, more questions about awkward guests. Well, no, I'm just saying there's other deduction games. I like, for example, The Key does a really good job at the Key series is really good. It got really good job at deduction in games. That's probably the biggest one would be the Key series, but there was probably another one that moved it up, but I don't know off the top of my head. Let's see. Have you ever eaten New York pizza? Yes. If so, do you consider it the best pizza in the country? I don't know. I mean, I was in New York in 2019. New York City. We stopped at a pizzeria in the middle of the city somewhere. Some no-name pizzeria. It was fine. It was delicious even. I tend to like that style pizza the best. Is it the best pizza I've ever had? Probably not, but I don't know that I had the best pizza in New York City, so. Let's see here. What was your 101 game on the top 100? Thunderstone Quest. I actually have that open here. So, yeah, Thunderstone Quest. And then 102 would be Dwellings of Eldervale. And then 103 would be Roll for the Galaxy. So, All right. Let's see where we're at. Back to questions. What are the top 10 pig games? I actually thought about making that list. I don't know if there's enough pig games to make a top 10 pig games, but there's at least enough to make a top 5. Any chance of making an updated MCU ranking this year? No. It's not gaming, so I don't repeat that stuff from year to year. We'll do it occasionally, but I'll do the updated MCU ranking way in the future. Also, Chris is not a... No, someone here is not a big Marvel fan. Who is it? I don't remember who it is. Let's see here. What social norm that most people follow bugs you? I don't know. Is there one? Maybe there is, but I don't know off the top of my head. What's the most ideal gaming atmosphere for you? Being with a lot of fun people to play games. I don't care about the snacks, music, etc. I just want to play games with people. Are you going to buy a new hat when you are in Vegas? Probably. I try not to. Is your family coming to Dice Tower West with you? Not exactly. My wife is coming early with me for a couple days. We're going to spend a couple days together. And then she's flying back, and then I'm working at Dice Tower West. Let's see here. The Tabanusi review. Oh, yeah. I don't know why we haven't posted that one yet. It will happen at some point. Let's see here. Excitement level for Frosthaven 0, actually. And I don't mean that in a negative way, like, oh, I hate Frosthaven. I'm sure Frosthaven's going to be amazing. But I'm currently playing through Gloomhaven again, having a good old time. I just don't... I don't know how to emphasize how much I'm usually not that excited about upcoming games. I put them out of my mind, and when they come out, then I'm like, woo, that's exciting. I mean, when a new game comes, I get excited about it, but I don't think about the upcoming games very much. I think let me think. The only thing I'm excited about upcoming-wise, I mean, I can make a top 10 anticipated games, I'm sure, but I would have to go think about it because I don't know of any. But I am pretty pumped about the X-Men United Kickstarter stuff, because I like X-Men United, so that's more stuff. I've not played any of the Devious Weasel games, I don't think. Let me quick pull them up here and make sure. So they've made Cosmic Frog, Shadows of Malice, Bemused, Zimby Mojo, and Drew Lesser Houses, and they made that one about cannibals, I think. Have I played any of these? I played Bemused, I think. Yes, I gave that one a 6. That was an okay kind of social deduction style game. That one was okay. Cosmic Frog, the rule book was written so like a war game that it just really didn't interest me or grab me. Did I play this Drew the Lesser Houses? No, I did not. And I definitely didn't play Shadows of Malice. I didn't like how it looked. Or did I play Shadows of Malice? And no, I went through the rules and I wasn't very interested in it. That's what it was. His games are like old school style games, and I know a lot of people like this old school look. And each time I'm like, oh yeah, I'll try to look at the newest one. I look at it, and it's not interesting enough for me to get to the table. And that's a me thing. I know a lot of people like them, but they just don't look modern. They don't feel modern. And everyone's always like, you're missing this classic weird game. But I don't know that I am either. For your Foursquare reviews, have you thought about everyone showing their scores at the same time, similar to Olympic judging scoring process? Because I think everyone wants to copy what Mike says. I don't know what that means. When we go into these games, we have our scores already set. So it's not like we're lying. It's not like, oh, he said 7. I better say 6. So I don't know what that means, actually. What's my plan for studio expansion? Well, the plan's pretty basic. We need to get a storage unit in our backyard to move the storage stuff to that. We then need to refurbish the garage, and then we need to set up the studio. It's a 3-step process. All 3 of those steps are pretty lengthy, so we'll get around to them. Will there be a stats video in the top 100 like last year? I don't have one planned. Last year was kind of a spur of the moment. Alex, I don't remember if I asked him or he asked me. I'd have to go back and look at emails. I don't remember who asked who. I thought that would be an interesting thing to do, but I don't know how often I want to do that. Let's see here. What do you think of the uneven turns that could happen in Ark Nova? Do you mean the fact that some turns are pretty short and some are slightly longer? I don't see that's a problem. Even the longest turn, which is like maybe putting out 2 animals or something like that, that's not that lengthy. I don't find the turns to be onerously long at all. I think they feel pretty snappy. What expansion for Ethnos knows what I'd like to see? A totally revised version with everything looking much nicer. Have we talked about how we will handle Last Light reviews when it finally comes out? Well, it's going to be quite a while away, so I haven't really put a lot of effort into it, but I would review it like pretty much every other game, giving any caveats. Nothing personal got reviewed on this channel, so yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm going to ask everyone to kind of hold off on the second studio thing because we have so much planning and setting up for that. I would say this will take a minimum of 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get put together and done. Might even take longer than that. So I'm still in the very early ideas phase. So until we make any progress at all, I'm just not going to answer questions about it because I'll just keep saying the same thing over and over again. We've talked about it, but I don't even want to talk about the plans for it because I might change them and then people will be like, but you said you were going to do this. So let us put our minds together. I have a process, a plan that we're going to go through, and then as we do it, I'll show off the steps. Have I ever done a 10 by 10 challenge? No, and I never will because I just don't care. I know, so for folks who know what we're talking about, a 10 by 10 challenge is playing 10 games 10 times over the course of a year. And that's fine. If that's a goal of yours, I'm all for it. I'm glad that people like doing it. I just don't care how many games of what I play. I could play 1,000 different games. I could play the same game a bunch of times. I might play one game a lot, one game a little. Setting goals for yourself is fine. And I have no problem with people doing it. I'm just content to play what I want when I want. I don't want to. The main reason I want to do a 10 by 10 is for me, goals like that can be restricting. I'm like, oh, I said I was going to play, this game 10 times. I'm kind of done. I don't feel like playing it right now, but we need to play it or I'll never get it finished. And that's not interesting to me. I do not yet know who the murderer is. Did you collapse into bed after the Kickstarter ended? Did it take a while to shake the adrenaline? Yeah, I was talking to Mike about this. We all went home, and I kind of stayed up for like an hour just vegging for a while because it's hard to go to sleep right after that. I was tired, and I know I always go to bed before midnight, but I didn't that night. Of course, I had gaming here at the studio the next day, so had to get everything ready to come back for that. Oh, yeah, I have a question about this. It says, I've watched the Dice Tower anthology video and I liked it a lot and he plans to continue with 2018 and beyond. First of all, is there a reason there's a major uptick in people watching that video? It seems to have come out of nowhere. There's just a lot of people suddenly are watching it. Was there a link? Someone talked about it somewhere? Secondly, yes, I plan to continue it in like 4 or 5 years. Maybe less, but I like to talk about these things in the past, not right after they've happened. The most annoying thing about being tall, just hitting your head, probably. I'm always saying that because twice now in the last 24 hours, I've really nailed my head on various things. That's kind of a pain. Airplanes is tough. But mostly being tall is fantastic. Those are just minor things. Do you believe you are aging gracefully? I don't know what that means, so I'm going to go with no. Let's see here. We're going to Everglades in 3 weeks. Have any suggestions or recommendations about visiting the park? Definitely take one of the guided tours. They're really well done. And ride an airboat if you can, because airboats are awesome. Let's see here. I have played Waste Night 2nd Edition. The stories are awesome and the mechanics easy to grasp. I think that's actually quite incorrect about the mechanics being easy to grasp. I think that's a very overwhelming, fairly big, very clunky game. The stories are cool and neat, but it's very clunky and it's very difficult. And not as interested in these games. That game punishes you. It's like if you drive too fast, you get punished. If you drive slowly, you get punished. You get punished no matter what you do. I'm not as interested in that. You know, one thing I think people forget about these sandbox games, like in real life. In a sandbox game, there's like hard spots and easy spots. Not everything's hard. And you can get more rewards if you go do hard things, but you should also be able to go do easy things if you want to. I'll keep harping on this till forever. I don't understand why board games these days, everything has to be really hard. I like games that reward you for doing fun things. They might have something very difficult to try, but you know, if video games, and some video games are, if video games were like cooperative board games, I would play very few video games. I'm currently playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which I really like. And there are spots in it that are incredibly difficult, but there are easier spots. And I'll go do the difficult spots after playing an easy spot for a while and leveling up and getting better equipment and stuff. And then I'll go to the hard spot. And if that starts, you know, like, oh, I need a break for a second, I go back to the easy spot. I just find it odd that board games are like, no, all hard all the time. Do you learn the rules of all the games, or do you have someone learn it for you to explain it to you later? I almost always learn the rules for games. Not always. I mean, sometimes someone else learns it and teaches it. But I like learning rules for games myself. Are your tableware utensils all matching at home? They are not. Thoughts on Stonemaier Games announcing a reprint of Libertalia this Wednesday? I know nothing about anything you just said. My favorite ice cream? Probably cookie dough. Let's see here. And again, I'm not answering every question, folks. I'm sorry. Lots of these questions I've already answered. I don't want to answer the same questions every week, so I skip around. If I skip your question, I'm very sorry. I just don't answer everything. I enjoyed the Kingdom Death Monster video. Thanks. Chris helped put that together. Are there plans to do similar videos with other larger lifestyle games? 100% yes. We like the idea a lot, and we plan to do more of that in the future. Favorite national flag? That's not the U.S. flag. Huh. There's a lot of cool flags out there. I like Greece's flag. I don't know. I'd have to think about it for a while and look at all. I would have to look at a bunch of flags, which I'm not going to do. So we'll just say Greece off the top of my head. Any tips on hanging board game boxes on your wall? No. Just pick games that look cool. Doesn't matter if you like the game or not. Is the whole Homestead crew going to Dice Tower West? Yes. Any other contributors going? Not many. Because we've lost money on all of our conventions, dramatically lost money on all of them, we're cutting back the number of people that we bring into them, just as a cost-cutting saving thing. So the Dice Tower crew will be at Dice Tower Cruise and Dice Tower West. and not many others will be there. Stonemaier is set to annouce their new game this Wednesday. Codename is Sand. Any guesses? Is it Libertalia? That's what someone else said, or is that someone's hope that it's Libertalia? It's probably just a new game. I'm sure it'll be interesting. What's the best thing I ate this weekend? Some calamari with some sweet Thai chili sauce on it. Are you going to rank the X-Men United characters like you did the first set? Probably. Will I be preaching at Dice Tower West? Yes, I will be, actually. Congratulations on 4 million views. What's a normal number for you guys? Normally a month brings in around 3 million views. That's the average these days. So 4 million was exceptionally high, and we were very pleased with it. I think the stories in Near and Far are incoherent. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you then. Are the Sleeping Gods better in that way? I think so, but again, if you thought those were incoherent, who knows? I noticed the new Star Realms Big Box and other game reviews will be reviewed. Slightly, it's in a video this week called A Tale of Two Reprints. Will you continue to find more great game series this year? I will not. This year, I'm starting a series up this week, actually, of going through the best 10 games from various publishers. I kind of switch what I'm doing each year. Where are we at with HeroQuest? I don't know. I still don't have it. But I'll tell you what, I yelled about it last week, and then the day after that, I got an email from Hasbro again. So who knows what Hasbro's doing? Every time I yell about it here, then they email me. But I still don't have the game. Give me my game, Hasbro! Saw the news about frozen iguanas. They say this every year. People have told me they've seen them. I have not seen them. And what we're talking about is when it gets cold down here, so it gets close to freezing, some iguanas, because of their body temperature, fall out of trees. They don't die. They just lay there for a while. I guess they would die if someone ran them over or something. But I haven't seen that. What's the most crazy thing you've seen a publisher or author do to promote their game? Go online and look up Reiner Knizia's promotions of some of his games. He does some really crazy things. Are you going to do a game and talk with Tsukiyumi? Here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to tell you all what we're doing on one. You just have to wait and see when they come out. And the reason for that is that I want to be able to have some freedom to do these. I want to be able to change my mind on them. So you'll just see them when they come out. But I do hope that you enjoy them. Are you excited for the Terraforming Mars dice game? I am not. Am I still finding whipped cream? I am not. What's your favorite felt color for a board game table? Probably royal blue. I love your Kingdom Death Monster video. Was there a TI4 video with the same format at some point? We've had very long discussions on this because we know there was. We know we recorded it. We know we posted it. And for the life of me, I don't know what happened to it. It's not online, and we have no record of it here. We know we did it. I don't know what happened to it. What does your family think about your tattoo? Like my kids and my wife, they seem very ambivalent about it. They're like, oh, and that was it. Do you feel that Arc Nova should have some sort of draft for the starting cards? I have felt that the winner is often decided by the first 8 cards. That's a pretty strong statement. I don't believe that at all. But I guess if you do, you could do your own draft. Wow, the first 8 cards? No, I don't think so. BGG shows 3 more expansions for Marvel Legendary scheduled for 2022 now that Messiah Complex is out, which I haven't seen. How realistic is it that we'll see all of them this year? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't kept track of Marvel Legendary in a while. What I meant was that the starting player could have an extra turn if someone after him ends the game. Maybe. I just don't see that matters that much. Besides, there's some money changes for starting player and last player, so that probably balances that out. I never found like there being a first player advantage, especially since you're taking like 50 turns over the course of a game. That really does seem to even out at some point. What made top 10 essential games reach 1 million views compared to other videos? If I knew that, I would have many, many, many more million viewed videos. When's the last time you played Nothing Personal? Years. It's been a really long time. Who do you want to win the Super Bowl? That would require me knowing who's in the Super Bowl. I actually know the Rams are in because I just saw a headline that said that they beat the 49ers. But I don't know who the other team is. You do not need to type it in the chat right now. I do not know. I will be on the cruise during the Super Bowl, so it will be less of an issue for me. I thought the Kingdom Death Monster video was awesome, but I know it was a lot of extra work. Yes. Was it worth the extra effort? We think so. Are you planning on doing any more like that? We do. Are you excited for the new Viticulture expansion? Once again, did not know such a thing existed. Probably should be on the ball about that. And maybe I did know about it. But I'm less excited about expansions these days. Any chance of including language dependence or independence in your reviews? I can actually answer that one pretty definitively, and the answer is no. I'm already talking. I want to talk about how the game plays and everything. And I'm not talking about, I mean, sometimes I might mention it as an aside, just like sometimes I mention color blindness as an aside. But I'm not really doing accessibility reviews on the games. So no. I don't do that because it's not something I really think about that often. And you can say, well, you should think about it. But I don't. So I get that, sometimes, Skip says, you play with a bunch of non-native English reading players and iconography is much preferred over text. I want text. I just do. I don't particularly care. I don't want games to be more language independent. I would rather games have multiple languages they're published in. Because text, iconography might make it easier to play in a mixed group where not everyone knows English, but it then makes it more difficult to play for the people, it just makes it more difficult to play in general. Can I borrow the quote? I won't because I just don't care. I don't know what I was saying that about now. Any truth to the rumor that the new studio is just a cover for Chief Sokoto to hide his flux transponder? First of all, there is no such thing as a flux transponder. The closest I can think to would be an AON and ion rotating Vajama? Maybe. Version 66.3. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. No. Chief Sokoto doesn't even know about the new studio. It's been a while since I've talked to him. The anthology video is auto-played after some of my videos ended recently. Interesting. So YouTube's been recommending my anthology video. Weird. What's been my favorite top 10 video to film? The top 10 overrated games that we did at Dice Tower Convention 2. Right after it happened is the past. Yeah, but it's not the past. It's the near past. It's kind of like when people talk about a president of the United States. Without getting too political, most people can't talk about any president very objectively. They're either amazing or they're terrible or whatever, and we can't see how good of a job they did or did not do until many decades usually after they've been in office. You know, it's a little easier now to talk about Abraham Lincoln. Everyone loves him now, forgetting that while he was president, there was quite a bit of controversy about that. So the same things here. When I go back into the Dice Tower anthology, I like going back in time and talking about things and saying, yes, I did this, and that was a mistake because I can see it now. Or yes, we did this, and that was a good idea. This past year, if I just talk about the past year, yes, I remember it better, so there's that. But other than that, Random question, what caused you to switch from wearing the polo shirts for all Dice Tower videos to the dress shirts? Well, I like wearing suspenders, so that might have been part of it. I was wearing shirts with ties on. If you go back to earlier videos, that's what I wore. Then I moved to Florida, and I was like, oh, it's too hot. I'm going to wear polo shirts. But I've gotten over that, so I'm back to what I like wearing, which is a shirt and tie. Do you think designing a game better suited to online platforms can positively impact sales? I don't know what that means. Are you talking about designing a game that's only playable online? Or designing a game thinking about the online implementation? That seems weird. I would never do that. I would never design a game thinking, well, I'd make this decision because it would probably be easier to play it online. I don't see what the benefit of that would be. You design a good game for people to buy it. Do you think an updated version of Careers would sell well? Maybe, if it was done right. Sorry. I guess I should hum while I'm looking for a question answer. Let's see here. With the increase of story-based campaign games that have a legacy feel, do you think true legacy games, ones where you use stickers, destroy things, have come to an end? I don't think they've come to an end, but I think publishers are shying away from those more. You won't see as many of those come out. Have you all considered doing the live plays of the Catch-A-Palooza games? Would be cool to see everyone's reactions before they explain how they felt about the game. Join us next week as we play 7 different games next week in preparation for Catch-A-Palooza videos, which will be going up the following week. What's your favorite secondary school mathematics subject? Statistics. Who in the crew teaches games more? Probably me. Teach them the most. We love Cosmic Encounter as a gateway. I wouldn't necessarily consider that a gateway. But if not added the tech or hazard decks. You said sometimes you use them. I will use the hazard deck in 1 out of 1,000 games. The tech game, 1 out of 50. And that's just because I don't think they add a ton to the game. I might have added the tech deck in if they ever had made more techs, but they just kept... The tech deck's not that big. I used the rewards deck in every single game. And that's pretty much it. When doing multi-day lists like the top 100, are they locked in or ever adjusted partway if someone mentions a game early on that slipped your mind? Well, in the case of my top 100, for example, there was a game that slipped my mind. I'll just tell you, it was Iki, I-K-I. It slipped my mind because I went through all the new games I played in 2020, and I considered Iki a reprint, which is why it was on a different list, and it just missed out. Who knows where that would have ended up? It might have ended up around 60 or something. I don't know. I'm just making up a number. But it wouldn't have been in the top 10. But either way, I realized that right before we recorded our 40 to 31. Well, I'm not sticking it in there. I'm not going back in time. I'm like, you know what? I'll just save it for next year. It's not that big of a deal. So I wasn't going to do that. Which do you think is better? Oh, excuse me. Reading the rules or video tutorials? Probably a video tutorial for most people. It was great to see your son on Core Quest review. Are we likely to see Jimmy in a review again? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Do you watch the video edits of your reviews before approving them to be uploaded? No, I don't have time for that. So I put all my trust in the video editors. I give them to get stuff and say, edit it and put it up. Let's see here. Marvel Unite playable with a 6-year-old who likes Here to Slay? Maybe. If you're playing with them, I think you could play Marvel United with a kid. Maybe. Is Chief Sokoto going to be present for the last Dice Tower podcast? No, he doesn't like podcasts. How many people are involved daily in Dice Tower production? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 10 people. When is deluxifying a game worth it in your opinion? If you really like the game. On a personal level, if you really like the game. I heard your option. Oh, I'm sorry, folks, to yawn here. I know it's not very good because that might make you yawn, and I apologize. I don't know why. Maybe I did not get enough sleep last night. Anyhow. I heard your opinion on Rococo. I thought Rococo, that was just this big deluxe box for a game that didn't need to be that big and deluxe. Makes me think your opinion as a game should be deep thinking enough to justify deluxification. No, for me, it's do I play it enough? You talking about the company? That one's different. I don't know. I think if enough people will buy it. Very nice of you to say, Justin. Does asking us to find all the best moments of the year result in higher view numbers at the end of the year? I doubt it. I get stuff from people, I want to say maybe 100 or 200 people. So if 100 or 200 people watch 20 videos, let's say 200 people watch 20 videos, that's 4,000 views. That's a lot of views, but that's 1,000th of 4 million. So it doesn't increase the numbers that much. Why did you settle in Florida upon your return from Korea? Because I found a job here. That was that. If Breath of the Wild was made into a board game, what type of board game would you like it to be? I would like it to not be made into a board game. I have never, ever thought a video game should be a board game. It happens, and I suppose it can work, but let's just make board games. When is the 24-hour marathon? We'll announce that. All I can say with very, very high probability it will not be the month of February. But don't worry, I won't forget about it. Has Marvel Legendary been completely overtaken by United? I saw it Legendary didn't crack your 100 for the first time ever. Marvel Legendary was 91 last year. And it is somewhere in the 110s right now. So it didn't fall that far. But I would rather play United. For sure. Sorry, pulling that up. The TI recording is the Mandela effect. No, not quite, because I know we did it. I just don't know what happened to it. Have you played Pokemon game on the Switch? No, I haven't played it at all. What's the worst game in a Dice Tower library? Maybe Diplomacy? I'm not sure. Do you guys include and play with the Dice Tower promos or keep them out of the base games? Some of them get added. It all depends on how easy I think it is to add the promos to the game without people having to undergo a lot of rules explanation. I apologize for continuing to yawn here. Yeah, I might drink a coffee after this or something. Which U.S. state that you haven't been to would you like most to visit and why? North Dakota or South Dakota. I'd like to see the sites there. What do you use to keep your board game boxes closed? I got some black bands that we put together for them. Why are there so many people in the chat trying to poo-poo on Tom's? What game do you think will be snobbed out of Spiel's Jahres this year? I don't know that any game ever gets snobbed out. I don't know what games are going to be picked this year. I just wait for now. How many different colors do you have for the gaming tables? They often seem to be different colors. Well, we have some mats here. You might see this. I'm lifting up the corner here because we got stuff on the table, but it has two different sides. See, it's green on one side, blue on the other. Underneath that's the next mat, which is maroon on one side and kind of a teal on the other. Then there's a brown mat here, and on the other side, a brown mat is green, and then another blue mat, and then the other side is a blue mat with dots on it. Hard to see from that angle. So I got 8 mats on this table, and I might get a couple more for it. I like the mats. They're easy. Which dice tower do I prefer? Well, here's a couple examples of them. So this is kind of what the plastic one looks like. This is the wooden one. The wooden one is sturdier. It really is. I just don't think it looks as cool as the plastic one. Well, also, let's try not to drop pieces out of the plastic one. That's because I'm moving this one around. This one has a plinko effect too. I don't know. It all depends what you want. I would go by looks for them. I like the plastic ones better myself, but the wood ones are really good. They're also fairly sturdy, like I said. All right. Super chat. That TI4 video was in the Winter Spectacular from 2020. Oh. That's why no one could find it. Oh. Wow. All right. Well, you've saved us. We really thought we... All right. Cool. Who is stronger with their pie abilities, Mike or Camilla? Probably Camilla, I think. Do we plan on doing a review of Kingdom Death Monster? Yes, we will. But we want to play it again before we do that. How much do you script your game reviews? For me, it's mostly in my head. I set up the game, so I have a game right here set up on the table. I look over the rules, I think about the different things I'm going to say, and then I record the review. There were less backers in the Kickstarter this year, but more money overall. Well, I actually know why that is. And it's straight up because we did not have a Gloomhaven scenario in the Kickstarter. So... the Gloomhaven scenario, we do it for $5 a pop. So let's say 1,000 people back it. That's $5,000 more. Now, don't get me wrong. $5,000 is nothing to scoff at. I like $5,000. But I can tell you from last year's Kickstarter that we had well over 1,000 people back and only get the Gloomhaven scenario. Which is cool. They got a Gloomhaven scenario, and we got some donations for Dice Tower, and we're very thankful for Isaac for doing that. He wasn't able to get one together for us this year, but that's straight up the difference in the number of people. However, you can see that money doesn't really make a big difference. It's more just the number of backers. Yeah, so we had 8,492, 7,750 backers this year. So subtract 1,000 people from 8,482, and you'll have 7,482, which means we had more backers this year, if taking out the Gloomhaven people, and then also people gave more. Did it make key lime whipped cream? I've not seen it. Maybe it exists. Are you caught up on the Book of Boba Fett? I am. The newest episode comes out this week for sure. Maybe a top 10 language independent list. I've thought about doing that. I don't know if we've done it in the past, but who knows. When are we getting the Now or Never review? This week. How's the tattoo? It's still there. It doesn't itch anymore or anything. It's now, I guess, part of me. Forever. So there's that. And I've gotten 6 more. I have not. Let's see here. Any plans with other YouTube board game content creators like Shut Sit Down, Heavy Cardboard, etc.? Maybe, but I've been tilting a bit to doing as much stuff internally as we possibly can. I like having guests on, and crossovers are fine, but I actually like building up the Dice Tower brand itself and bringing in Dice Tower folks to be part of our shows. What type of content is still missing from the board game space? Well, I'll tell you, it's rules overviews. And you say, what? We already have Rodney and other people, and I agree. But there are thousands of games without rules overview videos. So there you go. Any chance you can invite Will Wheaton to one of the gameplay videos? Oh, possibly, but he has not responded to me when I've reached out in the past in that regard. I will say, Will Wheaton wrote me a very nice email one time and said he appreciated our channel, but other than that, we haven't had a lot of communication. Sea turtles or land turtles? I like them both. Did you check out the very end of your recent 3 reprints videos after the end credits? Oh, I was shown what was done. Have to an interview with a business leader from a Christian perspective. How many key lime pies would I have to hook you up to agree to this? Well, it all depends on the length of time, etc. You can always email me and ask. Did my family like the Disney Encanto movie? Yeah, sure. My family likes all the Disney movies usually. What other reviewer shares my gaming preferences the most? I don't know. I wonder. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's very similar to me. 10,000 and below updated videos? No, that was a 2 years ago series. So I try to flip out my series in different years. So I did the best from publishers years ago. I'm doing that one over again. I've done the best of a designer. I've done the best of the letters of the alphabet. That's kind of something that Z's doing right now. I've done the 10,000 and below, and then I did 5 more great games. So I kind of change these up from year to year. It's Gloomhaven Monday. I just got a message. Indeed it is. I have some shrimp to use for dinner. Any ideas? Angel hair pasta, lightly buttered with some Italian oil, some olive oil and Italian spices mixed in with the shrimp lightly sauteed. So next week is another We'll Play It Live week, sort of, except in this case, everyone knows the games, or at least a few people who are teaching each game know it. Let's see here. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. What's the difference between Dice Tower West and the Retreat? Dice Tower West happens in Las Vegas and is happening in 4 weeks. Big game convention, well, big-ish game convention, 2,000 people there. Big game library, several shows and events. Dice Tower Retreat, very small event that is happening in September, and it's just like 200 people. So very intense gaming, no events. Well, maybe 1 or 2 events. No, other than that, though, just intense gaming, playing, and having a great time. They're both great. Do we play music in the studio while working? Not particularly. There's a lot of recording that's being done, so there's not music being played. I occasionally play music here in my office. Also, everyone likes different music, so probably not. Never been to a board game convention before. How does getting to the table and playing a game actually work? I'm getting anxiety over asking strangers if I can join in on their game. That is a little bit of a tough thing to do. I get it. As I said, if you have a hard time, then come ask me, and I'll ask the strangers for you to get them in the game. I'm not kidding. I'll help you out there. Or you can set up your own game and put up a players want it, and maybe some people will come and join you. Are there plans to continue the Dice Tower re-listens with Joe? Possibly. I'm thinking about that. What's the secret in the intro-outro? How do you always know whose turn it is to say their names? Well, you know, we were talking about things that are scripted. That's one of the few things we talk about before the video goes live. We love Dude Imperium. Regarding the X expansion, we heard you have not played the new Epic mode. Not particularly. I think the game's a good length. I don't want it to be longer. Have you tried just putting the new Epic mode starting card in a regular game? I think I played one game like that because I always try that sort of thing. Has the Dice Tower diving showtime been confirmed for the cruise? I don't know what that means. We're not diving. I want to be really clear on that. Not happening. We're just doing 2 full, you know, like game show type things that we hope that you will enjoy and have a good time. Who all is on staff at the Dice Tower? That's weird. I keep adding. Let me see something here. Yeah, who's on staff Dice Tower? Me, Z, Roy, Chris, Mike, Kenny, Camilla, Wendy, Sharon, myself, part-time, Eric, Robert, contracted out, lots of people. Oh, Lindsay's full-time at Dice Tower too. Do you hate seeing yourself on screen, or have you got used to it after all these years? I've gotten used to it. I don't love it. I don't sit there and be like, oh, that guy knows what he's talking about. But it doesn't bother me that much. What component in Vegas is most in need of an upgrade? Definitely the playmats. So I'd like to see that. We no longer see Sam Healy. Where is he now? He works for Mythic and lives in Washington. Have you ever posted a video and regretted it and then taken it down? Man, that's so weird. I keep putting the wrong comments there. This program is putting the wrong thing. So if you're seeing me answer a different question, it's put up there. That's why. And the answer to that question is yes. Why do you hate Flying Frog production games? Well, I don't necessarily hate them. I don't know why anyone got the opinion I hate them. I actually really like Conquest of the Planet Earth. I really like that one. And the zombie one, whatever it's called, is fine. With the space one's the same way. I don't like the artwork at all. Shadows of Brimstone may be amazing. I opened the box, saw you had to assemble the miniatures, closed the box, and never played it. I'm sorry, I don't assemble miniatures. Now, yes, we played Kingdom Death Monster, where someone else assembled those miniatures for me, and if you notice, it took me like 7-8 years before that one got to the table. I just don't want to assemble miniatures. And you say, just have someone on staff assemble miniatures. We don't got time for that. So that's kind of a big turnoff. Maybe it is an amazing game. I just never got around to it. That doesn't mean I hate the company. What's your feeling on the prevalence of obscure or hard to pronounce game names? Are companies limiting a chance at mass appeal? I would not make my game difficult to say, that's for sure, for that reason. Is PAX premiering your Catch-A-Palooza plans? Probably not. They just played it here in the studio on Saturday. I was not involved in that game. I was busy teaching another game. Maybe, but I mean, I would like to play it, but it's lower on the priority list. Would you ever move back to Pennsylvania? Oh, if things worked out right, probably. I'd have to think long and hard, though. I'd be like, the delicious food, the terrible weather, the people who tell you exactly what they think of you, which I kind of like, and all the wonderful sights, and the fact that the people are also rude. I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm kind of a grass is green wherever you are. I love living here in Florida. If I lived in Pennsylvania, I'd be like, I'd love it there too. It looks like your mic is catching all of your breathing. All right, I'll try not to do that. I'll bring it down farther. All right, let's see. I recently started using an ornament storage cube from Amazon, and it works great. I took out on level for maps and stuff. Dan, my email is tom@dicetower.com. If you could send me a link to that, I'd be interested in that for two reasons. One, that sounds useful. Secondly, there's an ornament storage thing? That sounds fantastic. I'll get it for that, too. Let's see here. With these $500 Kickstarters becoming the new norm, is this hobby gradually becoming elitist? No. Because they're not the only things in the hobby. There's lots of inexpensive, smaller Kickstarters. There's lots of small card games. There's things like Button Shy Games and other companies around. You can still go online and buy cheap games. Those big Kickstarter games are making it harder to get into maybe those big giant Kickstarter games, but whatever. That doesn't bother me as much. I might say that's too expensive or too much stuff or whatever, but there are tons of other games sitting on the table right now. I have Welcome to the Moon, The Key, Peso, City Chase, Ubongo Jr., Scope and Scowling Ground. None of those are expensive Kickstarter games. All of them are available. The hobby is not out of your range. It's only when you want things are out of range. So let's say cars, for example. I can afford a car. Can I afford a Corvette? No, I can't. But I can afford a car, so I can't say cars are out of my range. No, expensive big cars, expensive fancy doodad cars are out of my range. I can sit around and complain and be like, man, Corvette should be cheaper. Or I can just go buy the car that I can get. It's the same thing with games. Now, you might hear everyone talking about it. Oh, everyone's saying this game's fantastic. I can't afford it. Okay, well, there's a couple things there. Find a friend or a gaming group who does have that disposable income. Let them buy it and play their copy. Or just be happy with the many, many other games. We talk about great games all the time. And, a lot of games we talk about are not these big, grandiose games. My best coffee brand? Oh, I hate coffee. I mean, I might drink some to stay awake, but I don't like it. Will you release a list of games you're bringing for the cruise library? Probably on Friday of this week, because we're still doing some small editing and stuff. Let's see here. Testing. Is your door closed? Yes. Why? Does it sound like it's not? Chance of bag of butts invading Shoots and Marbles. Well, there wasn't, but maybe there will be now. Thank you, John, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Are your siblings interested in board games, or do they wonder about you? My siblings know what I do. They get along with it. My brother texted me and said his coworkers were impressed with me. But yeah, they just play board games as a very, 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 very casual thing. I'm the only one who's heavily into board games. Have you tried every Arc Nova board? I have not. Have you ever gone fishing? Yes. Or taken any of your children? No. How are your sea legs? They're not terrible, but I've only ever ridden on a few boats and mostly cruise ships, and cruise ships don't really affect it that much. Let's see here. Oh, it's 101? Well, folks, I really got to end here. I'll shoot to the bottom, see if there's any major question. Are you considering overhead video microphones for upgrading the audio? We'll figure out what the best thing to do for audio is. We're working on it. We'll see if we can get some really nice audio in here. So we'll have to find out how that works as time goes by. It's a pun, Tom. I don't know what the pun is. Shut the door, fail. I don't know what that means either. If you're saying, someone asked me, is my door open? And I said, no, I should say shut the door, but my door was not shut or open to be shut. I appreciate what you're saying, but equally, how many of the games that you ranked in your top 25 games of all time are affordable? Well, again, we're not saying these are the top 25 games you should get. We're saying these are our favorite games. My number one, Arc Nova. That's like, when you buy it from an online store, it's like $80. Cosmic Encounter, very much able to get. Le Havre might be out of print, but when it's not, it's that expensive. The Crew is my number 4. The Crew's very inexpensive to get. Project Elite, that's a big Kickstarter, but you only need the base game, and you can get that for like $40-50. Gloomhaven, yeah, it's expensive, but you can also pay for the online version of it and play it, and it's fantastic. Summoner Wars is pretty inexpensive. Nidavellir is pretty inexpensive. Space Base is not expensive. Vindication's a little pricey. Dune Imperium, just get the base game, you're fine. Chronicles of Crime, that's fairly inexpensive. Viticulture, get the normal one, it's not too expensive. Adventure Tactics is a bigger game. Beyond the Sun, normal game. Vagrant Song, it's not that pricey. Quacks, not that pricey. Blitzkrieg is pretty inexpensive. Feast for Odin's a bigger game. Pitch Car, but Pitch Car is its own thing. That shouldn't be cheap. Caverna, Kemet, Adventureland, Seventh Continent, Dominion, Magical Athlete, Race for the Galaxy, nah. Don't bring your overpriced game things and throw them at me. I got some nicely inexpensive stuff on my list. Marvel United can be gotten for like $20 at the store. Time's Up, really inexpensive. You don't even need to buy it because you can use a stay-at-home version. Race for the Galaxy, that's inexpensive. Hadara, not too expensive. Targi, Babank, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Alrighty, well, that is that. So I really better close things down here. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back live tomorrow. I know Chris and Wendy are playing Yucatan, and we're doing Shoots and Marbles tomorrow. So that's some live stuff tomorrow. Wednesday, we got crowd surfing. Thursday, we got Board Game Breakfast and a top 10 list. And Friday, no live stuff because we're packing up the library to put it on the cruise. So, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Q&A with me on the Dice Tower.